So I'm Melanie from Riding to Health, and if you're watching this back, skip forward 7 minutes. I was a GB athlete right up until 2012, and a knee injury actually stopped me from racing. I was originally obese, and then I became a GB athlete, and I raced for 5 years at all sorts of levels, right up to world level. And actually the first time I came to New Zealand was 2012 for a world championship, which actually ended up being my last world championship. But hopefully you can hear me now. So let's just see. Yeah, right. So hopefully we've got some sound right now. I actually started off as a coach and started Riding to Health in 2011, and I was doing some mental strength coaching and those sorts of things. And then I added on triathlon and swimming and nutrition and all sorts of other stuff. And then finally added on personal training in 2013. And then started Riding to Health in New Zealand, and I've been full-time with it ever since. Final thing that I actually added was a massage qualification, and from there I have built up a team of people. We've now got personal training, group fitness, and a whole range of massage, and a team of massage therapists as well. So if you're with me, let's go back. You're going to need one of these. You're going to need a pen and paper, and I suggest that you take notes as you go, because I'm going to be asking questions, and normally if you were in a live presentation I would stop and give you time to do it, but I want you to scribble and write without thinking too much about it. Okay, so let's start at the beginning with Mojo. So Mojo, where is that mojo? So if you are feeling a bit depleted, overwhelmed, stressed out, tired, bored, lethargic, those sorts of things, that is probably loss of mojo. If it's anything much more than that, you probably need to go and see the doctor, because it can actually lead to depression. So just be careful of that. Now, what might cause you to lose your mojo? Well, we wax and wane and all those sorts of things. Sometimes we feel really motivated, and it's unless you're a really driven type of person, it's actually really hard to keep motivated and keep driving towards your goal, unless that's what your personality type is. But so it's perfectly all right to be feeling a little bit meh, but what can we do about it? So let me tell you a story. Traveling salesman, right? Now, I can't make you do anything. You're going to have to meet me halfway here. In the days when a traveling vacuum cleaner salesman roamed the land, one came to my home when I was a little girl, and I offered to demonstrate the miraculous qualities of the Hoover. Mrs. Cooper, he said, this vacuum cleaner is world class, the very best money can buy. It's got all attachments for carpets and drapes and stairs and heating vents, hardwood floors, you name it, it will clean it. Wow. Clearly impressed. Is there anything that it can't do? Well, yes, there's one thing it can't do. It can't make you want to vacuum. So I can't make you want to change your lifestyle. I can't make you want to lose weight or want to exercise or any of those things. You need to meet me halfway with that. And if you do, then I can help you. Equally, I can't make you come in through the door of our gym or any other gym. You need to want to. And then once you get there, I can most certainly help you. So where did that mojo go? Reasons why you may have lost your mojo. Heaps of excuses is usually the main excuses that we usually get are haven't got time, haven't got the cash. That's the top two. Now, we started a whole 5-minute workout series based on I haven't got time, and it's actually really interesting because I've got about 25 of them on the website www.ridingtohealth.co.nz, and we made them because somebody said they didn't have time to work out. And so yes, if you're one of those people, go and have a look, because there's heaps of them, and you don't need anything other than a bit of space to stand up in. So don't have time is not an excuse I'm going to accept. Other excuses that we tend to hear are avoidance sort of excuses and generalizations. Oh, it's too big, it's too this, it's too that. Looking at the mountain instead of the small steps. So maybe that is you as well. So if you've got any of those sorts of excuses, then I'll tell you what, we can most definitely help you out. So at the beginning, you need to work out this. You need to work out what your goal actually is. Now, if you don't have a goal, then we don't know where we're going. So it's like driving to a destination you haven't decided. What is the point of that? So what is your goal? Is it realistic? Is it achievable? And do you believe in it? So like, for example, you might say you want to be like, I don't know, your favorite idol on the TV, as slim as XYZ. I can't think of anyone right now because I don't think like that. But let's say you've got somebody you idolize and you want to look like them, you want to be this slim, you want to be whatever. Is that realistic? Is it achievable? Or do you need to adjust that? Do you believe in it wholeheartedly? If you do, then you're definitely going to get there. You need to have self-belief in this goal, otherwise you will not get there. So, first question I'm going to ask you is what the goal is, and is it actually believable? I want you to think about this for a minute. So, a goal's main failure is usually lack of self-belief. Now there is a reason why my t-shirt has got our logo on the back of it, and why the logo is that I decided on that logo. Now all of our t-shirts have got these 3 words on them: focus, adapt, achieve. Because if you've got some focus, you adapt to the surroundings and things that are presented to you, then you will be able to achieve your goal. So that's the first thing. Do you believe wholeheartedly in it? Do you have an emotional connection to it? That will help you succeed. If it's just something that someone's told you to do, like the doctor told me to XYZ, then yes, you're not going to believe it. But if it's something that you want to do because in later life you're going to, whatever it is, then you most definitely will then be able to achieve it. So some questions I'm going to ask you here. Do you trust that the desire for this goal is actually attainable? The question is not, is it likely or easy, but is it actually possible? More often than not, the answer will probably be yes. Is it possible? That's the first thing with this goal. Do you really feel worthy of having this in your life, or is there some part of you that questions whether you're deserving of it? Now, I've had some people that say that, oh, I don't deserve this and that sort of thing. Do you deserve to achieve this goal? Only you can answer that question. Might there be a possible danger of succeeding? Some people are afraid of success as well as being afraid of failure. Are you afraid of success? Are you afraid of failure? Is there some type of risk that you're trying to avoid? Are there people in your life that might be upset, hurt, angry, threatened if you were to fulfill your dream? And if so, who are they? Are you willing to risk jeopardizing their approval? Only you can answer that. Are you willing to declare this goal to your friends that it's important? That's called accountability. If you say it out loud and tell somebody about it, then you've got to be accountable then, and you can't go back because you've said it. Then they can support you. Have you really stepped into this process with both feet, or is one still holding the door open just in case? That's such a common thing that I see. Are you an equal match for this goal? And can you practice being the person of your dreams in the meanwhile? Now, often, if you pretend that you're happy, even though you're not, that will actually instill happiness. You've got to act the way you want to be, which is a difficult one to believe sometimes. So, moving on. What exactly are you trying to achieve? So if you look at these, some of these might be attainable, some of these might not be attainable. What are you actually trying to achieve? Why are you vested in this process? Does your goal need changing? So there's a story I want to tell you here about this, and I'm going to show you a slide about it in a minute. But you need to be completely vested in the process. You need to believe that it's going to be possible, and you're going to need to continue to make it possible. And all of those things together make success. If you've got an unrealistic goal, you're setting yourself up for failure in the beginning. So you need to start with a realistic goal. So I want to show you something. This is from an old presentation. So here's the slide. Now that's some images from when I used to race. We're going maybe 9 years ago now. And to look like that was a really, really high maintenance job, right? So I had to work at that sort of 10 to 20 hours a week, really strict diet, stepping on the scales every couple of days, counting all the macros and everything like that, and training 20 hours a week on top of my day job. Yes, I look great. Look at that. In that one on the right, I was modeling underwear, and I had a six-pack. But is that achievable? It was at the time. Is it consistently achievable? Probably not. Am I willing to keep all of those processes up to keep that? No, because I no longer am, and so that's a whole separate conversation about body image and things like that. But I just want you to have a think a minute here about that previous image I showed you there. What is your goal, and what are you trying to achieve, and is it realistic, and are you willing to keep working at it like that? So back to the goals. So why actually do you want to achieve this? Why? It's not a word I normally use. I don't like why, because it often creates excuses, but actually in this case, why works quite nicely. So why? Make a list. Now you need to write this down in pen, and there's a scientific reason behind this, because studies show that when we write with our hands and connect the letters manually, we engage the brain more actively. So what is your goal, and why do you want to achieve it? So why? All the reasons why. So only you can decide what they are, and you might want to pause me later. And anybody who's joining me later, I did recap and start again with all the sound that I missed out before, so you haven't missed anything because I started over. So when the ticker tape comes across saying sound is on, I started again. So apologies for that. That's a little glitch in this little old app, because I pressed a button so you couldn't hear me going beforehand and then forgot to unpress it. Whoops. But anyway, write your list with pen on paper. Write your list of whys, why you're wanting to achieve this. So some examples that sort of spring to mind is health and longevity related. So I've had people come to me that need to do this because it's as simple as I want to keep alive. That's quite a motivating goal. It might be to be able to get up off the floor, off your knees, or step up and climb a flight of stairs, or something as simple as that. What is your why? Only you can tell me your why. So moving on to how you then look at it. I'm just going to check the comments here whilst I've got you here. Oh yeah, hi Erica and Janice. Sorry about and Janelle. Sorry about the loss of sound before. Whoopsie. Hope you're hearing me now. It seems like you are. So looking at chunking. So this is a main problem that everybody has when they are talking about targets. Usually looking at the mountain rather than the first steps. So that is such a big common thing that makes people feel overwhelmed, is looking at the big picture rather than the tiny steps. So what you need to do is break your grand goal down into small steps. So if you're the person that wants to stay alive and not doing exercise might shorten your life, then the first thing you're going to do is walk into a building and talk to someone. That is your first step. And I've had some people have come and found that step actually the most difficult. And it was those sorts of people that made us actually add our flexibility class onto the timetable, because it made exercise a little less threatening to the people that were coming straight in from having not done any exercise before. So what is your small step? And you need to do the steps one at a time. Now that might sound really dumbass, but you believe me, some people try to run before they can walk, quite obviously, and then you're going to fail. Or the people that come busting and ready to go, and I've come to 7 classes in the first 5 days, having not done an exercise for 5 years. Equally, that's not realistic either. Your small steps need to be that. They need to be small steps to make sure that you keep taking those small steps and get to that goal. So each small success triggers the brain's reward center. Now this is your positive endorphins that I'm talking about here, your feel-good chemicals, the ones that sort of get activated when you come and do exercise, those ones. So it's called dopamine. So you need to make sure that you are taking small steps so that your brain is seeing the reward and that you're going to keep on going, you're going to keep being motivated. Helps to keep you focused and concentrated, and it also helps to inspire you to take another small step. So, like I said, don't look at the mountain. You need to look at the small steps at the beginning of the mountain once you've created your plan and figured out what those small steps are. Now, what are you actually going to do? What are the actual actions? So let's have a flick to those. I'm going to take my picture off for a minute so you can see them properly for a bit, and then I'll come back to you. But I'm going to keep talking. So, small steps. Let's begin at the beginning. Address your stress. That's usually the one that creates the biggest problem and all the conflict and all that sort of thing, and makes everybody stop and not do anything else from there. So what we need to do is address your stress. Lighten your load, get rid of the conflict, whatever it is, but that is where you need to start with addressing the stress. Be with happy people. This might sound really stupidly simple, but being with happy people make you happy. Being with stressed people will make you feel stressed. Being with people that are depressed will make you feel depressed. It's quite obvious when you think about it. So surround yourself with happy people. So I've got people that come into the gym, not because necessarily they want to do a workout, but because they know they'll always have a laugh. And some of the people, actually, the laugh factor is more motivating for them than any type of exercise. And that is perfectly all right as well, because it's a de-stress. So there we go. So be with happy people. Stop is another thing you need to do. You need to stop. And I mean, get off the hamster wheel. I mean, take time out. I do this semi-regularly, and I will even just like go and sit in the bird hide across the road on the estuary for 10 minutes and then come back. Equally, there's another one further around there about being electronically connected. I often do that as well. So I will turn my signal off, turn all my notifications off. It's something that I don't consistently do too well, to be quite honest. But what I try my best to do is turn all the notifications off and not respond to anything over the weekends and over the evenings. Otherwise, I end up being on call 24/7. So that's where that one, take an electronic sabbatical, comes from. Now, I actually did it way before the Facebook problem came along, and someone told me, oh, you're always on your phone all the time. I thought, hell's bells. I look at people in coffee shops and they never talk to each other. They're just sitting going like this. And I thought, this is terrible. I can't possibly be called that. So I disconnected myself from Facebook, and I never ever look at it. So much so that I really haven't missed it. I open it to do my business type stuff, and I can't do it without a personal profile, which is quite unfortunate. And so I now get people going, oh, did you see the? No, I didn't. No. Did you see that? No. Oh, I was reading about that. Oh, so-and-so's done it. Oh, have they? All right. No. I do not look at it. And when I did, it was making me feel stressed. So I don't. And it's quite simple. I don't do it well all the time, but I do it. You need to keep moving. Now, this is something I did just this morning, because if you get tied up too much in work and all them sorts of things, then you, or your daily humdrum, then you can end up quite static in that job, in those tasks. So I took a walk up Forest Hill this morning because, well, I don't need a reason, simply because. And that was that. So yes, you need to get moving. Exercise, like I said in the previous slide, positive endorphins, those sorts of things. That's your happy hormones. You need those. Do not be permanently permanently connected to your electronic devices. That's a terrible thing, and I see it so much these days. Do you know what? I love New Zealand for the fact that I can drive 30 minutes up the road and I don't have a signal. Awesome! Did you get my... No, I don't have a signal. I like that. I like that, New Zealand. I like it a lot. There's something to be said for that. You should go and stand up a hill where there's no signal. Missions, not obligations. So I also say, hear people tell me so much about how they've got to do this, that, and the other for the other person, or for this person, that person, da, 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 da. You don't have to do anything. You actually don't have to do anything. You do whatever you choose to do. So what is your mission? Go back to your goal. What is your mission? Are your actions achieving that goal? And is there any wastage in there that you can get rid of? I'm not telling you to be a ruthless, heartless bitch here, but you do need to streamline and be selfish sometimes in order to keep focused on what you need to achieve, rather than living your life for everybody else. Because if you do that, you'll get to halfway through your life and you'll forget you don't have one. Or if you're unfortunate, you get past the end of your life before you've even worked out you had one. So I'm telling you, that's the really important message, is that you need to be selfish sometimes and take some time for yourself. Ask for help. Now this one is really quite important. Make your goals public, because if you say it out loud, then somebody else can help you keep accountable. Now we do that with our members group, for example, and it's a private group that no one else can see or even exists, and they talk in there much more freely than in the public domain of Facebook, when who knows who's going to see it. Whether it be that, or whether it just be your friend on the phone, or whatever it is, get somebody to help you stay accountable. I've got some members who want me to call them if they stop booking in classes, because they want me to keep them accountable. I've got a lot of people like that say they come to us because they're rubbish when left unattended. So whatever it is that helps get you working towards that goal, you do that. It'll be different for everybody. And celebrate your small wins. This one is actually really, really important as well, is to celebrate small wins. Now I want to show you a diary, and I'm going to talk over this picture. I'm not going to put my face on because I want you to see the diary page. It's a blank one from somewhere in the future, so there's no data issues here. But here is my diary. Now this diary is actually called a passion planner. Now I can give you the link if you've got the slides to where you get them. Now in this diary, I do this religiously every week. There's a box on the left hand side, you'll see there what's the weekly goal, and then good things that happened that week, and I always fill those in as I go. And it might seem stupid and trivial at the time, but shall I tell you what, afterwards, when you think, oh, that week was crap, I go back and look at it, and you know, it actually wasn't, because you tend to have a distorted view of what is going on. I also have goals on the lists underneath at the bottom, and if I don't get anything done off that list, then it goes on to next week's, and then I start the list again. But that little box on the left, good things that happened, is the best little box I ever had on a diary. So trust me, if you need a link to where you get that, then you'll get them if you've got the presentation notes at the end. And it's the best diary I've ever had. I hope she keeps trading and doesn't go out of business, because if she does, I will cry. Or you can also get a download of it as well, PDF download. Once you've bought one, they give you a download. So it's really cool. So moving on. This is a great quote. I like this quote. Thomas Edison, I'm sure you know who he is. He created the light bulb. I've not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Now, if anyone here is a small business owner, I'm sure you have found 10,000 ways that don't work. And if you don't adopt that approach, then everybody gives up before we get to the end. So do not give up. I always call failures learning opportunities, because that's what they are. They're not failures. A failure is to stop after the first time you've tried it and not try it again. Because, like, who is a genius and gets everything right first time? No one. So yeah, back to my motto, focus, adapt, achieve. I'm talking about it. Adapt. That's what I'm talking about. You need to be adaptive and keep on figuring out different ways to achieve the goal and go back to the goal and find some different paths. There's more than one route to get to any destination. It's as simple as that. And finally, well, maybe it's not finally. No, it's not quite finally. Get some help. Like I said, there is value in sharing your plan. Announce your intentions, sends a strong message to all your friends, and then you struggle to go back on it. So that's why a lot of our members book into classes, because they say once they've got the booking, then it means they have to come. If you're a member of a gym and you can trot in and out whenever you like, a lot of our members find that difficult because, well, nobody's keeping you accountable of that. But if you come and visit us, they're always keeping you accountable, because if you're not booking into classes, then you might hear from me if you're one of those members that have asked me to do that. So yes, accountability is a really important element. And then there's obviously going to be failure, because let's be realistic here. We're not all perfect, and it's not all going to go swimmingly the first time. So what are you going to do when it fails? You need to figure this out. Now, the best way, and I do this with all my coaching conversations that I have with anyone, is a brainstorm, spider diagram. But that's what works for me. Some people it's lists, whatever. But yes, if I ask you to draw a spider diagram of all the things that possibly could stop you from achieving your goal, this is actually where I first arrived at NLP coaching. Is somebody before one of my world championship races asked me to do that, and I thought, oh, easy peasy, and I filled in the whole page right from top to bottom. It was so simple. I could tell you a million things that might go wrong, and by the time she finished talking to me, it had been torn up, and the next day I did a personal best. So yes, we need to predetermine what those failures are going to be and come up with a plan. So each time you're going to make an excuse, what are you going to do about it? Once you've figured out all of those, then you can't possibly go wrong, can you? It'd be quite simple. And then this one here, I love this quote. This is really a really cool quote. So yes, it's all about sustained effort and being a very driven person, and it's perfectly all right to sort of lose your way and wax and wane and come back in and go back out and all them sorts of things. But yes, that's a quote from Steve Jobs that I do like a lot. So, what do we already do? Now, if you haven't had the pleasure of our company in a class, there's a heap of things that you can already get and even if you have had the pleasure of our company, maybe you don't even know this. So there's a whole heap of things that we already do. Now, the first one there, that is the Y series. Now, we had an anniversary for the Y series this week because, well, no, last week. Last week was 1 year since the beginning of the Y series. Now, I say it's weekly, almost always weekly, 98% of the time weekly, and so we're on number 40 something odd so far, and they're all questions people have asked me, all sorts of random questions, and now I'm getting to the point where somebody will ask me a question, I'll go, oh, I did a video about that, and I'll send them a link. So if you've got a question, even you might think it's a really silly question, you can send me that question, and I don't identify where the questions came from, so you're not going to be named or anything like that. But yes, and that is on our website, and it's also on YouTube. So the last 10 of them are on our website, www.ridentohealth.co.nz. It's under resources, and that's where the workouts are as well, and all the other 40 odd of them, they're all on a playlist on our YouTube channel, which is Riding to Health in Chicago. So that's the first thing, and we do them on Fridays, and they're usually Friday morning, sometime before 11-ish, depends how organized I have been that week. And you can watch them all back, and there's a playlist of them here on the Facebook channel as well, if you wanted to look at them through Facebook. So that's the first thing that you might be able to get some inspiration and help with. Then we have also got a podcast. Now, this is my new wee mission. It sort of got lost for a while, but it's back on schedule, and I've got about 3 months worth of them all popped in. And there's all sorts of things in there, and they're not that long, and you can download them out of the iTunes store, or you can find them under the resources section of the website, and you can also get them off the Podbean app, which is available on Android and on Apple. So there's 3 different places you can find those. And that's for those people that, well, you don't have time. You don't have time to read this article, so I recorded it for you so you can listen to it whilst you're doing something else, because I'm nice and thoughtful like that. All those people that say you don't have time. Yeah? So there, that's the other one. There's also other heap of things that we do. So keep moving on. Where's my next slide? So then we have got 2 groups on Facebook. We have got a members group, which you won't find unless you're a member, and we've got a community group, and that's for the people that aren't members, that maybe visit us casually, or that haven't yet visited and want to see what we're all about. Now, I'm in the middle of a mini series in there about reading food labels. So if you are not yet one of our members and want to sort of check out what we do, you know, this whole observe in the background for 6 months before you decide whether you're going to engage with that business. Everybody does that on social media these days. So that's how you do it. And it's a community group, and it is totally free. And I pop those videos in there at least once a week. And I get my technology right, hopefully. So yeah, and then the members get some extra things. So let me just slide that back onto the slide. So there's what the members get. The members get weekly challenges, regular socials. We do 2 live streamed classes into the members group each week. We give them workouts, and I change them each week, and all sorts of tips and tricks and everything else on top of everything that the people in the community group get. So the members don't miss out on anything, but they get extra stuff. So yes, and there's a whole online element to our members membership as well. So we've got members that do their classes from their home, and they join us on a live stream, and we have a bit of banter. And if they don't, we say things about them, so they have to go back and watch the class. I'm sure those people know who they are. So yes, so yeah, if you're interested in either of those, if you're a member, we will invite you to join that one, but you can always join the community group, and it's totally free, and there's absolutely no obligation to do anything other than just join it and sit and watch and collect some free stuff. So yes, so that I think is about the summary. So if you have registered for this seminar beforehand, then you will get the notes for this presentation. If you have not, but you want them, then there's a link up here that you can add yourself on, and I can send them to you. That's not a problem. And there's a couple of links in there. There's a link to where you might get that diary if you wanted, and there's a couple of links to some interesting psychology articles that I found all about mindset and motivation, and keeping motivated and other things, that sort of thing. So there's actually some quite interesting background stuff as well in there. And equally, we also do coaching. So I was just talking to somebody about this evening, about mental strength coaching and mindset coaching, goal setting and all those sorts of things. If fitness is not your aim, but you want to set a life goal, then we also do that as well. So there's a whole multitude of things. And if you have watched this live stream and you're not one of our clients, and you contact me before the end of tomorrow, quoting live stream Thursday, I will give you a free consultation. It usually costs $30, but you need to tell me those words. And that's the only way that I will know that you have actually watched this. Equally, if you know someone who might find it beneficial, then do point them this way. And if you send them to me and they quote that, then I give you free stuff as well. So thank you very much for joining me. And I'm sorry about the sound problem at the beginning. One thing you do need to remember is that you are awesome and that you can achieve anything that you want to achieve. But like I said at the beginning, you need to want to. Now I'm going to just look over here and see if there's any comments or questions before I head off of here, and I'll just double check with that. So I've got people complaining about the sound. Whoopsie. But other than that, I don't have any questions, so I will just hang on here for another couple of seconds in case there are any questions, because I know there is a delay on this stream. And if you wanted to send me an email on the link above, I can send you the notes. And also if you want the notes and you also want a consultation, remember, you need to remember what that quote was. I told you have to quote. And I can do a consultation about mindset coaching, fitness, health screening, whatever it is you want me to do. And that would just be a 30-minute appointment, completely free, normally $30. But you need to do that before the end of tomorrow to be able to get that. So I'm assuming that there are no more questions or comments. So thank you for everybody who has been with me. Thank you for anybody who is watching this later. I will check the comments after I am off the live stream, and if there's any questions you've got for me there, then I will pop an answer in. Equally, if there's any topics you would like to see in future, and if you found this live stream format, once I sorted out my sound, if you find the live stream format of this quite useful, do give me some feedback. Equally, this software that I've never used it before, so the screen sweeping in and sweeping out, and whether you could see them all right, all them sorts of things, do holler, let me know what you thought of that, and that will decide for me whether to run one of these again in the future. So have a lovely evening, and I will perhaps see you soon. Thank you for joining me.